It's not a given that just because you're in the first call-out, you're going to be last man
This is
standing.
being judged live right now, folks, so be as loud as you want. Please welcome your head judge, Mr. Steve Weinberger.
Thank you, Bob. Can we see Rolly, Sean, Dexter, Ramy, William, and Phil?
And that was predictable from last night's call-outs, Dan. I mean, all these guys equally, I think, improved. The defending champion,
Dexter and William switch, please.
Phil Heath,
Dexter and William.
along with Big Ramy, of course. Phil, I imagine they'll probably stand next to each other in a minute.
And Rolly switch.
And there it is, Dan.
And the crowd understands what they're watching. Everybody in the bodybuilding universe wants to see Mamadou Alsbaye, Big Ramy stand next to Phil, the Gift Heath, and see these guys go toe-to-toe and pose for pose.
Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right.
You're looking at two men on stage who have won the Mr. Olympia, Dexter Jackson, a former champion, Phil Heath, the reigning champion, and then there's Big Ramy, a guy who's trying to become champion.
Yeah, I mean, he's thick as a brick. I mean, again, this takes me back to when I competed with Dorian Yates. It's that apple and orange comparison. But I can tell you, Dexter does not look 10 years older than Phil Heath in this comparison.
Well, here it is. This is where the Big Ramy fans will sit there and point out. I'd love it if the camera could pan back over and we could get a clear sense of that Big Ramy versus Phil Heath.
And Dan, that front lat spread is Big Ramy all day. He's just too big for all the guys on that lineup for the front lat spread.
Side chest.
And again, Dan, there were some pictures circulating yesterday, this side chest, where people thought that Big Ramy owned this pose when standing next to Phil Heath. Let's see how they look tonight.
Well, both of them are making it a point to showcase their hamstrings, and we are, it almost becomes murkier and murkier because Phil Heath obviously has a different look, and it's extremely difficult to compare these guys, but Big Ramy is massive, and he is in the best shape of his life.
Winning the Olympia is one from the back. Lee Haney, Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman, and now the Gift, Phil Heath, should own this pose from calf to traps.
Of course, William Bonek is the guy who's got something to say
Rolly
about
and
this.
William switch.
And that's where they're bringing William Bonek closer to the action. They're going to give Sean a fair opportunity to stand next to his champion.
Gentlemen, back lat spread.
Steve Weinberger noticed that there's a lot of money up for grabs. He properly prepared them, so Steve's going to let these guys work.
Absolutely. Of course, Sean's got to get outside. He just from the back, he didn't belong next to Phil Heath. The back double bicep is Phil Heath, and we're back to that side chest, which arguably is one of those poses that Big Ramy wins. The side tricep, I think Phil Heath sneaks up on.
How does Big Ramy win this contest? Walk us through this.
It's got to be one of those situations where it's based on improvement. Ramy is the best he's been. I cannot say the same thing about Phil Heath.
Sean, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is Big Ramy a better bodybuilder tonight than Phil Heath?
There's a case that he's making right now, Dan, that I arguably would have absolutely no argument if he took the Sandow Trophy home. However, those genetic strengths cannot be denied. The downside of being a dominant champion is that they want you to close the door on your competition, and Phil has left that door open.
This is a really good call out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to get a sense for what William Bonek has become, it's nothing short of amazing. Sean Roden was given the opportunity earlier to move into an inner spot, and then Steve Weinberger looked at it, pushed the buck off to the side.
Well, let me tell you something. Dexter wins it when he's standing next to William. But when you get down to that lower half, William's calves make Dexter look like an amateur. And this is where Sean falls behind, again, especially in the lower back department, but mostly the meaty, chunky middle back, along with Rolly Winkler. The lower back is just not there.
This pose down, of course,
Sean, Dexter, William, and Rolly back in line.
A battle for third place. Who has the advantage right now?
Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right.
And this is how good this Olympia lineup is when you see guys like Josh Lenardowitz,
Quarter turn to the right.
and Brandon Curry, and Nathan. These guys that are in this call out right now. These are good bodybuilders.
And in this lineup, I'm going to go with Brandon Curry and Yasha in this comparison. And that says a lot because I believe Brandon Curry is taking out our reigning defending Arnold Classic champion from Ohio. Brandon won the Arnold Classic championships in Nathan Yasha is one of the more improved. Obviously, I believe that Josh is a little spent for all intents and purposes in terms of getting to this competition. But right now, I got Brandon Curry in this for comparison.
But I can tell you right now, these judges are not going to hand it to Phil Heath. He's not going to get this thing just because he is the defending champ. He's going to have to win this thing.
But again, if Phil wins because he has a better total genetic structure and a better back. And that is half your body when we're talking the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back, the middle back, the deltoids. He wins that from the rear. But he has to know that he's in a dogfight. They are not comfortable. I know he works with Hani Ramba, but right now I think he's probably a little bit nervous. And we're going to see that come out in the pose down. Phil is going to be fighting like an animal. He's going for history. So that means a lot more than just winning. History lasts forever. He's got 6 Olympia titles. He wants history.
All right, this is where you're going to get a chance to see these guys really make their money. If I'm not mistaken, $400,000 up for grabs for the winner's check.
It would have been nice to just see Phil with Big Ramy, because that's really where the contest is.
All right, I'm going to take you pose by pose, Sean Ray. These guys are going to start with the front double bicep. Phil Heath versus Big Ramy for the 2017 Olympia. Let's take it shot for shot. Front double bicep. Who has the advantage?
Right now, the advantage is Phil when his stomach is flexed. It's got to be flexed, or it doesn't look right.
Now they're going to move into the front lat spread. Phil Heath versus Big Ramy.
I'm going with Big Ramy all day on the front lat spread. Just way too wide. You can't ignore the sweeping quads.
Now, a pose that has always really fared very well for Phil Heath is the side chest. Let's move in to this comparison. How do you see this one?
I'm staying with Big Ramy on the side chest. I saw this a few times, and it is ridiculous in terms of the girth. Phil is hard through the pecs. It just doesn't have the girth, the width, and the meat, and the mass. He's competitive, but Big Ramy wins that pose to me.
Back double bicep.
All right, the plot thickens. They are turned to the back. As they do these poses, they will check themselves on the monitor. They're basically watching the same thing you guys are watching at home. They just have to look up a little bit higher to do it. Sean Ray, how does it look?
This is a maturity thing. I think Phil has him on the muscularity part. Again, in the lower part, this is where Big Ramy, he had the hamstring injury before. The calves aren't necessarily all the way there. I think Phil has this pose.
Back lat spread.
Who gets this one?
Big Ramy all day. He's wide as the 747 jet. Watch those lats open up and basically make Phil look very narrow. Ramy is ridiculous, and Phil's got to look over there at Dexter Jackson, who's actually wider than him.
We're going to go into a side tricep shot. Again, another pose that has always been very favorable to the champ.
Absolutely, and I just think Ramy's hitting that shot wrong. He's not doing it right. This is where, I'm telling you, this is where Phil is dead serious. He thinks he's kidding with Dexter, but this is about money right now and history. He's fighting for his paycheck.
Just looking at the intensity in Big Ramy's face as he hits that shot. He is here. He knows he has a chance. He can taste this thing. Phil Heath, though, is not going to go quietly. And quite frankly, from what I would guess, Phil Heath coming into this thing are really separating themselves. But Sean, based on your analysis, Big Ramy has a whole lot of advantages.
He certainly does, Dan. And I got to tell you, Phil is getting more and more aggressive because he realizes the stand and the clock is ticking, and he's got to get that title. This is what he's here for.
Hill. They turned out to be a pretty formidable team. Now we're going to move on to the Mr. Olympia, the main event, hitting up the top 10. We're back here at the Orleans Arena for the moment that bodybuilding fans await all year round the crowning of a new Mr. Olympia. And we're going to find out who that's going to be, whether or not it is in fact a new Mr. Olympia, or whether Phil Heath is able to retain the title. We're going to learn that in just a moment.
Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Front double bicep.
So this is going to be our final chance to get to see these guys compared. Phil Heath in the center on one side of him, Big Ramy MR.OLYMPIA on the other side, the former Olympia champion of 2008, Dexter Jackson. William Bonac all the way off to the right side of your screen, and Sean Roden all the way off to the left side. These are the top 5 bodybuilders in the world. And now what they're going to do is they're going to move Big Ramy into the center. He is milking the crowd. The crowd is responding in a big way. During the commercial break, Bob Ciccarello asked the audience who they thought was going to win. He mentioned every single name, and the name that got the biggest applause was Big Ramy. People are really excited about the possibility that we could potentially see the crowning of a 14th Mr. Olympia tonight. This is extremely close, extremely difficult to call. Big Ramy has done the work, and he has brought something extremely dangerous. I don't know if he's going to win tonight. He might, but I can tell you this right now. He's created a whole lot of intrigue as we begin the march to the 2018 Olympia.
Dominoes and five.
We knew Big Ramy was special from the moment we first heard about him. His first couple outings at the Olympia were impressive. They were respectable, but we knew he had further that he needed to go. We knew that there was a piece of his puzzle that he hadn't found yet. It appears that he has found it. And now in the final moments of Olympia judging, their final chance to make their case, there's your 2008 Olympia champion Dexter Jackson, Sean Roden, last year's runner-up, Phil Heath, Big Ramy, William Bonac are going to catch their breath, and it's now time for a post-up.
There's only one man on that stage that has beaten your reigning 6-time defending champion, and that is Dexter the Blade Jackson. Everyone else has been a bridesmaid along the way, and they've all taken turns beating each other in competitions around the world on the bodybuilding circuit. However, Phil Heath, when he ventured outside the United States, has done nothing but win. He won over in India at the True Classic. He won over in Spain at the Arnold Classic Europe, and he's focused since then only on the Mr. Olympia Championships.
And in typical fashion, the champion is making his way to one side of the stage, and the contenders are chasing. And who knows when the day will come where they will start chasing Big Ramy. I have a feeling it's not too far down the road. The question is that going to start tonight? Phil Heath is an impressive champion. He's trying to win his 7th standout trophy, something that has only been done by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman, and Lee Haney in the history of the Mr. Olympia contest. Big Ramy is having a whole lot of fun here in Las Vegas tonight. He knows what's at stake. His contingency of supporters have followed him here, and there's a whole lot of enthusiasm around the possibility that a new champion could be crowned. Seeing Sean Roden up there is also a credit to his ongoing consistency. He has been top 5 in the world for several years in a row right now, and apparently he will stay there, or certainly he will have a spot in the top 6, or in the top 5 rather. But for Phil Heath, the question is, did he do enough? Big Ramy comes over, he asks permission to make his way out into the crowd. Or I guess they're not going to authorize that permission. They seem to be on a different time constraint this year. Typically, they'll allow these guys out into the audience to bring the fans to their feet, to take pictures with the fans during the pose down. We're not going to see that tonight for television considerations.
Let me give you some perspective, Dan. Right now, these guys are physically exhausted. There's really very little gas to take. And now with this camera angle, you see the detail that Ramy doesn't necessarily have in that muscularity shot that Phil actually is carrying. But this is when they're spent. They've been dieting in the anxiety and the dehydration. It is a very strenuous position to be in. They cannot wait to get this thing over.
And I'm going to caution the fans out there, because I know there's fans of Big Ramy that think he has this the fans of Phil Heath thinks he has it. And you know what? On some level, you're both right, because you both have a good case for winning this thing. There isn't a right or a wrong answer on this thing. These guys are having a lot of fun. They all bring something very different. What Big Ramy brings is not what Phil Heath brings, but they are both, or in the case of Big Ramy, he is at the top of his game. Phil Heath obviously has a genetic predisposition to deliver something that's remarkable.
Please take the fifth place award in check for $45,000 to your fifth place finisher, Sean Ronan.
All right, Sean Ray. There it is. Sean Roden is going to finish fifth place here at the 2017 Mr. Olympia, and one of the great bodybuilders on the planet. He fell just a little bit short. I know he wanted to bring something a little bit different, but it didn't quite play out for him this year. But once again, $45,000 fifth place check.
You will take the fourth place award in check for $55,000 and present it to the Blade, Dexter Jackson.
Once again, Dexter Jackson remains among the world's very best, and the fans respect it. They appreciate it. And Dexter Jackson, I'm going to tell you right now, he's going to be back again next year.
Well, there's nothing. Dexter Jackson said unless he falls out of the top 6, he doesn't have a plan B. This is his life's calling. He's showing us his life's work. It's not that he's off, and it's not that he's old. He is in the elite of the elite.
To your third place finisher, William Bonac.
William Bonac continues to climb the ladder, joins the very exclusive top 3 in the World Club, where he will be presented with an Olympia bronze medal, something I know you are very familiar with. Sean Ray, I think you have a few of those hanging in your office.
I got 3 of them, Dan, and I got to tell you something. That is a heavy little weight that he's got around his neck. And it is an accomplishment in his career that he'll be able to tell his grandchildren, because he is the number 3 bodybuilder, not just tonight, but in the world at his profession. That is a very good feeling to have, and now he's going to focus on second or first. He's got his work cut out.
On the line here tonight, folks, $400,000. The Sandow in the title of 2017 Mr. Olympia. Please welcome to the stage, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
The Rock brings that element to any audience.
How's everybody doing, by the way? This is the 2017 Olympia. It could be an historic night. I said, how is everybody doing tonight? So, to these 2 gentlemen, I want to tell you from my heart, and to the athletes who competed tonight, men, women, all incredibly inspiring, incredible. The discipline has been incredible. It's all the things and qualities that we love and admire and respect about you guys. So on behalf of myself, everyone in this room, and everyone around the world, I want to thank you for inspiring us to create the best person we could be daily and always be the hardest workers in the room. I love you too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the greatest bodybuilder on the planet, the recipient of the 2017 iconic Sandow Trophy, the 7-time Mr. Olympia, Phil the Gift Heath.
Has spoken from the mouth of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Move over, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You've got company. Phil Heath is now a 7-time winner of bodybuilding's most prestigious title. He is Mr. Olympia. Once again, 1 victory shy of the all-time record. But for tonight, Phil Heath will celebrate number 7 alongside The Rock. and the admiration of fans around the world. Big Ramy Mamdouazbieh settles for second. It was a furious charge by the runner-up. Big Ramy deserves all the respect in the world. He is not finished yet. Big Ramy will be back next year to battle for this title, but for now, the night belongs to Phil the Gift Heath. Jim Mannion presents the Sandow Trophy, bodybuilding's most coveted prize, along with a very big $400,000 check. Phil Heath from Colorado remains the best bodybuilder in the world.
And Dan, again, he was pushed to the limits, rose to the occasion, and there's no doubt in my mind this contest was won from the back. And that is Phil Heath's strength. If you don't take him out in his best poses, he is Mr. Olympia 7 times. I didn't hear anybody boo, and The Rock is taking it from here.
Phil, congratulations. You've done something very special. You've done something iconic. You've just made history. You have tied the greatest bodybuilder of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger's record at number 7. What's going through your mind? What's going through your heart?
I'm just so thankful because when I started bodybuilding on October 8th, 2002, I had no idea that I would be standing on this stage one day winning the Mr. Olympia, let alone, being 7-time champion. When I got into this journey, I was, a little bit bitter because I didn't make it playing Division I basketball, and I was trying to find another outlet. And bodybuilding taught me how to be strong mentally, physically, and emotionally through all life's challenges. It taught me how to train hard when no one's in the room, when you're having a bad day, through death, through hardship, through anything that can go wrong. I always had the gym. Over at Arm Rest, I could train. I could train any time of the day. There would be days I would train by myself or with my fiance, Cherie, and I would be in there dying. Looking at those pictures in the gym of Schwarzenegger, of Coleman, of Haney, of Dorian, of everybody. And I would just tell myself, one more set, one more rep, just give it everything you've got so you can put yourself in the best position to win. And that's all we can do in life, people. Sometimes life is going to serve you up some curveballs, but I challenge each and every one of you to step in that batter's box and take a damn swing. You look in the mirror and you ask yourself, do you give it your all? You look at the mirror and you ask yourself, do you have another rep? You ask yourself, can I go to work when I'm pissed off because I'm about to get fired or something bad happened or lost my girlfriend or whatever it is? You ask yourself, do you have the guts to go after it when no one is watching, no one's patting you on the back, and no one is liking your stuff on freaking social media? If you got the guts to go after it, you can put yourself in the best position to win, and that's what I did through this entire prep. It was not easy. A lot of people say, oh, Phil, he's got genetics and this and that. I put that God-given talent to work each and every damn day in the gym. And I'm just proud to be a 7-time Mr. Olympia. And like the great Oak said, next year, I'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2017 Mr. Olympia, the king of bodybuilding, Phil the Gift Heath.
Well, once again, Phil Heath is victorious against a very formidable lineup of international players, and Big Ramy has absolutely nothing to hold his head down about. He is sniffing that title, and like Phil said, he'll be back. I'm sure Big Ramy will. With Big Ramy is William Bonek in 3rd place, and of course Dexter the Blade Jackson and Sean Roden, who's got some work to do. This lineup won't change too much next year.